The world's ever-growing populations have been an issue that lies at the heart of the development and welfare of all peoples of the world. In 2011, the total world population will reach 7 billion people. UNFPA and Japanese parliamentarians initiated the process of parliamentarian involvement in population and development issues as early as the 1970s. The Asian Forum of Parliamentarians was formed in Beijing, China in 1981. This led to the first AFPPD conference in New Delhi in 1984, addressed by Prime Minister Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Between 1981 and 1993, many initiatives were taken to mobilize parliamentarians. A parliamentarian centre was constructed in New Delhi. The Asian Population and Development Association was formed in Tokyo as the secretariat of the Japanese Parliamentarian Federation on Population. AFPPD conference in Beijing called upon the UNFPA to observe World Population Day and to organize an international conference on population and development. Both resolutions are now implemented. The Day of 3 Billion in Asia was marked by AFPPD on World Population Day 1988. A large number of parliamentarians were mobilized through conferences, seminars, workshops, and study visits. UNFPA and AFPPD brought parliamentarians of the world together in Cairo in 1994. It was here that the ICPD was born. Parliamentarians linking population to social development at the Copenhagen International Social Development Conference in 1995. Food security and population linkage were explored in Geneva. The status of women and population linkage discussed at the International Women Parliamentarians Conference in Tokyo in 1996. The AFPPD hosted the International Parliamentarians Conference on ICPD in 2006. Asian parliamentarians at the 2009 IPCI in Addis Ababa. Special emphasis is given to gender issues. Promoting Millennium Development Goals and gender equality. Each year, AFPPD mobilizes women ministers and parliamentarians to highlight political empowerment of women. AFPPD Standing Committee on Women. A sector-wide approach is adopted to reach academic parliamentarians. Medical parliamentarians mobilization. In order to enhance parliamentarians' reach and level of knowledge, a program to meet and interview the maximum number of parliamentarians was conducted with help from the Hewlett Foundation.
A very important part of the work that we as parliamentarians in the Pacific trying to promote to ensure that the women issues, empowering women, and seeing that violence against women is, if not totally eliminated, but reduced.
It's become a really useful forum because for so many of my colleagues who don't know anything about these issues, sometimes when they are in a formal committee meeting, they don't like to ask questions because they don't want the bureaucracy to know that they don't know these issues. But when they learn from other members of parliament, it's that apprehension kind of slides away a little bit, and we see them asking questions about disease transmission.
And we have got to really apply our mind, and we have to motivate, especially people staying in rural areas, the farming community, people staying in slum areas, illiterate people. We have to motivate them to adopt small family norm.
If we can empower women as a sense of equality, give them sexual and reproductive rights, then they can then transfer that to educate their children, feed their children, reduce poverty. That is the most important thing. I find empowering women the most important thing.
I've had all the theory about the issues of population and development and the sexual and reproductive health issues, but this is like the practice, and hearing from the other, every country that stands up and says we have a problem. And I realise in New Zealand, well, we are far ahead of the game in many respects, and many countries are struggling. So I think we have a role in helping our neighbours in the Asia-Pacific area. And this has been a valuable experience, and just re-emphasising to me the need for these meetings, the need for further discussions. And I think as a parliamentarian, being part of the government, I can go back and lobby my colleagues that we should be doing something else. We should be stepping up and meeting those challenges for our neighbours in the Asia-Pacific area.
I think according to the halfway goal or the MDG goals by the year 2015, I think we are quite on time, on course.
Every country has a different situation, and every country has different issues. So we have to make a cooperation. All the Asian countries, especially Japan and Indonesia, and have a very big population country.
I think Vietnam is one of the country have achieved some very good MDG, such as MDG on the poverty reduction. In Vietnam, it achieves reduce poverty rate before MDG target is 5 years. It means that now we are already reduced 50% of the poverty reduction.
Закон о гендерном равенстве сегодня находится в работе нашего парламента.
Yeah, we do speak in our parliament these issues, and the important issues. One of them is climate changing. We are joining to all these conventions, which is accepting in the worldwide, and also the maternity questions issues. We are speaking in the parliament.
As members of AFPPD, we are united by a commitment to the Programme of Action from the 1994 International Conference on Population and Development. The ICPD Programme of Action states that by empowering women and meeting people's needs for education and health, including reproductive health, are necessary for both individual advancement and also for balanced development.
The UNDP Millennium Development Campaign worked with AFPPD to involve parliamentarians in taking action on the Millennium Development Goals. AFPPD has also been active in mobilizing parliamentarians on HIV/AIDS and in promoting legislation on the prevention of HIV/AIDS in several countries. Dr. Purnima Mane, Deputy Executive Director, UNFPA, meeting parliamentarians at the 9th ICAP in Bali. Male parliamentarians' involvement in prevention of violence against women. Capacity development of Parliament staff and empowering parliamentarians. The AFPPD Secretariat has regularly provided technical assistance and funding to its national committees for the organisation of national activities. Parliamentarians have played a pivotal role in enacting policies and legislation and in earmarking resources for the formulation and implementation of national family planning programs.